You're listening to another episode of the Coaster101 podcast. I'm Andrew Stillwell, and after a several-week hiatus due to work, but I actually got to ride some coasters on that trip. Some esteemed coasters like Monster at Adventureland and Madugani at Lost Island, and the very cleverly named Piff the Magic Dragon in Las Vegas. We're back, which is great news. And joining me this week on the podcast, first up in Ohio, we've got Nick Weisenberger. Nick, what's going on?
Oh, not much. Good to be back.
It is good to be back. I'm glad to have you on the show. I'm also glad to have our other esteemed panelist down in Orlando, Shane Joseph. Shane, welcome back to the Coaster101 podcast.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
This is good. It's like we're welcoming everybody back because, when I run out of time, and the last episode we had actually was a really good episode. If anybody hasn't listened to it yet, we interviewed general manager and owner of Lost Island theme park, Eric Birch. And having experienced Lost Island on this work trip, everything he said I was able to kind of bring it to like reality. And it's a special place, Lost Island. I think the two, well, maybe the one. Madugani is a really fun roller coaster that used to be Canada at Liseberg in Sweden. The SLC is an SLC, but Volcano, that Sally Dark ride that is in a regional park in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, is truly far and away one of the best dark rides I've ever been on. And certainly at a regional park, it is the far and away the best, but that's another conversation for another day. Obviously, this show is releasing on Monday, July 31st, and if you tend to keep up with the announcement season calendar, you'll know that tomorrow, Tuesday, August 1st, is going to be a pretty big day in Santa Claus, Indiana, as there is some gravy-themed something being announced according to the package that Nick actually got. And then over at Cedar Point, there is, there's some announcement for something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Couldn't tell you. I think interest will spike on Tuesday. But that being said, with this, there's so much big news coming tomorrow. We're going to do a Universal Parks draft this week because, again,
why not?
Exactly. Every other podcast out this week, they're going to talk about Cedar Point. They're going to talk about Holiday World. They're going to talk about maybe the weld indication at Carowinds. They found a second one, but it was testing over the weekend, so we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, us, Coaster101.com, we're going to do a Universal Parks draft. And we're going to go 12 rounds with it. It's going to it may seem like a lot, but there are 5 Universal parks or resorts around the world, a couple more parks than that. I'm going to go 12 rounds. You have to take one show. You have to take, and this is at minimum, one show, 2 international attractions, and you have to take at minimum but max 3 defunct attractions. And with that, if there is an attraction, something like a Spider-Man or a Waterworld that has been kind of almost a duplicate exact lift from one Universal park to another, because I know everybody in Beijing and Singapore, they love their Waterworld stunt show based on a nearly 40-year-old
Who doesn't?
movie.
Hey, it's great.
That's what I'm saying. Shane, you've seen it. But
yeah,
if somebody takes Waterworld off the board, you can't go Waterworld in Singapore as kind of a follow-up. So once it's gone, it's gone. But we are going to actually start this draft. We're going to go on the very cleverly named wheelofnames.com. And we're going to do this in a snake format, but I'm going to find out who gets the first pick. And the wheel is spinning. I don't know if you can hear the sound effects here.
No, I wish. Are they good?
No, not really.
You just make them up?
Yeah, you can do it.
There's applause, and it appears
No way. Okay.
It appears that Nick has the first pick, and so we're gonna run this back. We're gonna take Nick's name off the wheel. We're gonna put mine and Shane's name on the wheel.
Okay.
And Big bucks, no whammies. Here we go for the second. Actually, you know what? Whoever gets this pick, they can pick if they want to go second or third. What do you think about that, Shane?
Okay.
How you feel
I
about that?
get. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, cool. So spinning, bing, 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 bing. No, big bucks, no whammies. And Shane, you're not going to believe this, but my name just came up.
Wow. It's a little suspicious that I can't see the wheel, but that's okay.
You want a screenshot? I'll send it to you.
No, I'll take your word for it.
All right, but I'm going to go third. So I will go third and then fourth. So I'll take the kind of the butt ends of the draft here. But Nick, you have round one, pick one, and I think we were talking a little bit before the show. There seems like there's a pretty easy choice to come off here. So with pick one, round one, pick one, are you taking Curious George Goes to Town?
I was gonna go Jimmy Fallon actually. Throw a little curveball. No,
that's
no. I
good
think
one.
the obvious choice here is the Velocicoaster.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a pretty. I feel like that's a given.
Yeah.
Given we've all been to Universal in the past year here. To me, Velocicoaster just blew my mind from a roller coaster standpoint.
Of course.
I think very worthy first pick for sure. Shane,
if you read our article
Yes.
about the best roller coasters in Florida, we also picked that as the number one coaster.
Yeah.
we've covered Velocicoaster a lot on our site. We've
covered it a lot.
We've got
best
love letters. We've got videos.
Yeah.
We've got it all. Head
That's
to
right.
Coaster101.com for all things Velocicoaster.
Yeah, go check it out. Just search Velocicoaster. You'll see a bunch of stuff.
Yes. Okay. So Velocicoaster off the board. Shane, round one, pick number 2. What are you taking?
I will be taking the very long named Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
That's another very solid pick. So another really good roller coaster. I just voted for the golden tickets, and Hagrid's managed to crack my top 10 steel coasters, which
Good.
It was the bottom half of the top 10, but
hey, I think it's one of the best ride experiences out there.
I think so. You just got to get. I've yet to. I can't ride in the sidecar seat because my legs are too big, so I always get stuck. Negatively.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I always end up on the motorbike seat, but that makes it really awkward when you have to ride with a single rider who's like, "Hey, I have to be in the bike seat, so if you want to be in that, tough luck."
Yeah, they're like, "Sure, you do."
Oh my gosh! All right, well. So I have the first pick or third pick in the first round, and with Velocicoaster and Hagrid's both off the board, and I have back-to-back picks here, which to me it's an interesting play for sure. But I am going to take. I'm going to stick with the roller coaster theme here, and I'm going to go with, I believe it is Universal Studios Japan. And I'm going to take the Flying Dinosaur with my my pick.
Great pick.
You know, I'm going to give it a little international flair here.
Yeah.
I've yet to get over to Japan.
And if Eric were on, he could tell us all about it because he just went to Japan earlier.
Yes.
He could. And then, you know, we know if Eric was in this draft, we know what his number one pick would be. It's Waterworld.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I don't know if that's going to come off the board that early for me. But let me go with now into round 2. I'm going to stay international. I'm going to go. Actually, I mean, I guess this is technically international as well as domesticated at this point, but I'm going to take the Mario Kart attraction at Super Nintendo World.
Interesting.
Bowser's Castle or Koopa's Castle, whatever it is. I'm taking Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I think that's it's a unique bit of tech, and everybody can say what they want to say about it going fast versus slow, but I think it's a solid pick. So, Shane, round two, pick two goes to you.
Yes, this is a little bit of a tough one, but I think I'm going to stay domestic. Well, I mean, there's a few of them, but I am going to pick The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. I think it is one of the best dark rides of all time. Still holds up 24 years later. Looks great with the 4K screens now. So yeah, home run for Spider-Man.
And you got those Stanley cameos, and
Yeah, you gotta love it.
you do. And it's a ride that's like older than you are, which cracks me up still.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right, Nick. So you're gonna round out round two here. Off the board
All
so
right.
far, we have Velocicoaster, Hagrid's Magical Creatures, Motorbike Adventure, Flying Dinosaur, the iterations of the Mario Kart attraction, the iterations of the Spider-Man attraction, and what are you gonna round out round two with?
So I think I'm going to stay with the Jurassic World theme here, and I'm going to go international over to Universal Studios Beijing and get the Jurassic World Adventure Ride, which I believe uses like the same ride system as the Spider-Man and Transformers, but it has the Jurassic World theme and story. And just by judging from the YouTube videos, this ride has like the most amazing animatronic dinosaurs I've ever seen. So if you haven't checked that out yet, go Google this thing, go find the YouTube video. It looks really awesome.
I did not even realize this was a thing. This shows you how much
It
work
looks
and prep.
unbelievable. It looks so good.
Yeah, there's like a scene where it looks like the Dominus Rex, like animatronic dinosaurs chasing your vehicle.
Oh
It's
wow,
really, really cool.
gonna have
So
to.
now I've got a whole little Jurassic World themed area now.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to start a park, that's for sure. But
No.
Nick, you have another pick right now. Are you going to continue? Are you going to go with
Um,
Pterodon Flyers or Camp Jurassic for your third pick here?
if I was picking for my family or my kids, they would definitely want to go with the Pterodon Flyer. Um, since we have to pick one show, I think I'm going to go ahead and take it off the board now. Is the Bourne the Bourne
Oh, bummer.
Stuntacular,
Good pick.
which is
Good.
I don't
so
know how
good.
people don't talk about this show more. It is unbelievable to see it in person. It uses those high def screens in the background, and you really can't tell what's happening, physically in front of you versus what's on the screen. It's amazing.
It might not be my favorite show, but it is the best show I've ever seen. And it's weird how those two things don't necessarily go hand in hand, but it
Yeah.
is the best piece of theme park tech I've ever seen.
Yes, I cannot wait to see where that goes next. I see that show every time I go to the park. It's unbelievable. I'm a born fanboy at this point.
You're born again and again and again and again.
Yeah, I am every time.
All right, Shane. Well, you have your pick in the third round.
All right, I'm gonna take my first defunct attraction, which actually might be around somewhere else. That would be the Jaws attraction.
Shoot!
I never got to ride it, so I can't fully appreciate it. But it is the one that got away forever. I will be upset that I went the year after they took it away. So now I'll put it in my imaginary park to honor the legacy.
It was coming so quick. You sniped it right from under me, because that's a ride I can still do most of the spiel for.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. I'm looking right now at my Tales from Amity Island book on my bookshelf, and
Yeah.
it's like, man, I can't believe you did that to me. It just can't.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I would have taken Bourne.
Nick, this is your fault then.
It's all my fault.
It is. It's okay though. All right. So to close out round three, now that Jaws is off the board, and it was coming there, but it wasn't. I gotta go. I gotta go with Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. I think that's a solid dark ride. It's maybe not as It doesn't hold up as much as Spider-Man does over the years, but again, I think it's a really good piece of tech, and I think the magical benches, as dodgy as they can be, this kind of kicked off this new era for Universal Parks and the bank of Harry Potter that has kind of bankrolled everything else in the park in the last, I don't know, decade plus. Um, so I gotta go with Forbidden Journey there. And
Totally get it. If that ride gets a 4K um, renovation like Spider-Man, then I think it could be in the conversation for one of the best rides. I still think it is, but I think that would be perfect.
yeah, and I'm thinking I don't foresee this ride being here when it's snakes back to me at the end of round 5. So I've got to go with Men in Black Alien Attack.
Oh,
It's
great
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. If you're gonna take my my favorite ride, Shane, like favorite ride of all time, which is Jaws, I'm one of you was going to take Men in Black Alien Attack, and
Yeah,
I was
that would have
talking a
been my
little bit
next one.
talking a little bit about Volcano at Lost Island earlier. I think these two, 1, 2 in some order. One for sentimental value, probably Men in Black Alien Attack, my favorite interactive dark ride of all time. And that is something, if I go to Universal, I will ride it 5 or 6 times during a vacation just because I love every bit of it. I love the laser guns. I love the ride vehicles. I love the fact that Dave Cobb, who may or may not listen to this, he came on the show and we talked for 3 hours about this ride. So I will always have sentimental value. But Men in Black Alien Attack, first pick off the of the board in the 4th round. So Shane, your 4th round pick.
Yes.
Now that you can't snipe my my sentimental favorites here.
No, I can't, but I am going to take another defunct attraction. And that is going to be Dueling Dragons
Oh,
Oh,
/ Dragon Challenge.
that was going to be my pick.
that's a
Yeah.
really solid pick.
This I did get to go on. Both of them. I think it's an incredible invert, both of them. I think if it was still around, I think it would still be in the conversation for best B&M inverts out there. So although I do think that Hagrid's is a very worthy replacement, I do wish this was still around alongside it. So that'll be my pick.
Okay, I respect the pick. I truthfully, I had it on my board and then I overlooked it, and that's again my level of prep for these drafts where it's like I come up with the idea, I should be able to win the draft, and we are going to go on twitter.com, which is the only way we're going to refer to that website. You're going to be able to vote on the who you think had the best draft, and we don't really know if there'll be a prize or anything, but yeah, head to however you get to Coaster101 on Twitter now. I don't know if you go to X or Twitter, just find us on social media.
You'll get there.
We'll have the poll up first thing on Monday morning. Nick, your 4th round pick.
Okay, well, I was going to go with the Dueling Dragons. That was my number 1 on my board.
I'm taking everyone's
Now that
picks.
that's gone, I've got to come up with something else here. So I think I will go with Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts.
Good pick. Good pick.
Which is,
Great pick.
The more I ride it, the more I like it. And so I know Eric and I got to do it multiple times at the Orlando Informer meetup back in June. And yeah, just enjoyed it every time.
I think the queue in that ride, and it's sad because typically when I ride it, I either go to the single rider because the line is, absurdly long. I think I've only done the full queue walk through it one time. And those goblins in the bank scene, they're so just impressive to see close up. So
yeah,
They're
I like
great.
the elevator. I think out of all those rides that have like the pretend elevator in the pre-show, I think that this one's the best of that effect.
Yeah, they definitely do
Yeah.
it better.
the hydrolators walked so this could run for sure.
Yes.
And then let's do it. Let's do it real quick. We're a third of the way through here, and we're gonna just recap the 4 attractions, not necessarily in order. But Nick so far has Velocicoaster, Jurassic World Adventure in at Universal Studios Beijing, The Born Stuntacular, and Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. Shane has Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, Spider Man, all iterations of Spider Man, Jaws because he hates me, and Dueling Dragons. And then I have Flying Dinosaur, Mario Kart, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and Men in Black Alien Attack.
All right.
So, Nick, you have the first pick of the fifth round.
Ooh, okay, here. I'm trying to think what else is left. I think for this one, I'm going to go for another roller coaster. This time, the Mummy, the ride. And specifically, I guess I'll go with the Florida version.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the good one. So that is
I like them both.
I've heard the one in Hollywood's not as good.
It's still good. It's pretty good.
Okay, well, it's a Premier coaster. Premier Rides makes pretty good rides.
Yeah,
that's what they do. All right, Shane, fifth round. What do you got?
All right, I'm going to go with an international choice / domestic, but this will count for my international choice. I'm going to pick the Decepticoaster, which is the clone of the Incredible Hulk. I've not been on Decepticoaster, but I've been on a Hulk many, many times. And I think it's one of the most intense B&Ms out there. That first launch is incredible. Just a great mix of elements there.
And I'm just going to go on the record here. I feel like the theme is different enough where if somebody else or Shane even wanted to take the Hulk late in a later round, he could.
Oh, interesting. I thought we could not. Okay.
I mean, it's not a direct lift. I feel like Waterworld to me is Waterworld. Spider-Man is Spider-Man. There's enough difference. Maybe. I don't know. If it comes to if somebody wants to take the Hulk later, they can. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna fight in this this mythical fake theme park draft.
Right.
So with my pick in the fifth round, I'm taking the Incredible Hulk coaster. Thank you.
Okay. That's why you changed the rules.
I didn't change any rules. It's not a direct lift. There's
all right.
There's enough difference here, and it's another attraction for me that has a ton of sentimental value. It was kind of the coaster I rode back in 1999 when Shane was but a mere twinkle in his parents' eye. That I caught the coaster bug on, and so it was. To me, I'd be kicking myself if I didn't take it. So we're gonna go there, and then with the sixth round, kind of the halfway point for me. I am going to go with a kind of a unique pick in my hand, and this is really the reason that all of these theme parks probably exist. I'm taking the Universal Studios Hollywood Studio Tour.
That's if I had thought of that, that would have been like my number 2 choice.
Completely forgot about that one.
So it's
what a great.
It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some Fast and the Furious. It's got some King Kong. It's still got the Jaws scene in it, right?
Yep.
So it's got a little bit of everything. And I think, again, without that studio tour, I don't think any of these other international parks exist. So we're going to go with the studio tour as my first pick of the sixth round. And Shane, your pick in the sixth round.
All right. I'm going to go with another defunct attraction here. Another one that I did not get to ride as well. But I would hate if anyone else took it. And that is going to be Back to the Future, the ride from Universal Studios Florida, which is currently The Simpsons. So, yeah, massive fan of the movies. I've seen the ride through a few times. And I think if this was still around today, or if it came back in some form, I think it would be a hit because that retro stuff, 80s stuff is very in right now. Back to the Future is as popular as ever. Just had a musical open on Broadway. So, I will take Back to the Future.
And if you, depending on which corner of the internet you like to frequent, people are convinced there's going to be a Back to the Future coaster at, I believe it's, whatever that video said. I think it was Theme Park Predictions. So shout out to Brandon. But he's convinced there's going to be a Back to the Future themed 88 mile per hour launch coaster
I would love that.
That would be fantastic. So,
Yeah.
Universal, if you're listening, I mean, think about all the success you've had with Hagrid's and Velocicoaster with launches. It would be
Yep.
pretty cool. And whatever you happen to be building, allegedly that there's 2 tracks that you can see from wherever in Orlando or on Bio Reconstruct's helicopter, that thing also looks really cool. So,
or whatever you're building in California, going up and down the upper and lower lot.
That you announced on X.com.
Yes, correct. Yep.
All
that
right.
would also be great.
Oh, God. It's Twitter. It will always be Twitter, said the guy who calls it MGM Studios.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Nick, your pick in the 6th round.
Back to me. All right. Well, since I have to do at least one defunct attraction, I think I'll hit that now. And I will go with one that I actually did get to ride, and that's Confrontation, which was at Universal Studios, Florida.
Very good pick. Very, very solid. That was one of those, I wrote it as a kid, loved it, and I still have the picture at my parents' house of me and my younger brother as much younger children with my parents with the big giant King Kong head in the, I believe it was the exit queue. So we still have that picture like proudly on display in our house. I don't know why, but we do. But Nick, after Confrontation, you get to have another one here.
Alrighty, and we have to have at least 2 international attractions, so I think I will go international again and pick the Hollywood Dream B&M coaster at Universal Studios Japan, which I know Eric said was kind of just a nothing ride, and doesn't have as much airtime as other these B&M hypercoaster kind of style coasters, but it's still B&M. It still looks cool, so I'll still take it.
It's a solid play. I didn't realize.
I mean, you could go forwards, you can go backwards on it.
Right, and you can pick your music, which I thought that was only a Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket thing. So I think it is. That's a solid pick. It's something I've always kind of wanted to ride in the back of my mind, but I also have to go to Japan first. So we'll get there eventually. Shane, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to go to Universal Studios Hollywood now, and I'm going to take Jurassic World, the ride. I would say second only to the Jurassic World in Beijing to some of the most impressive animatronics ever created for that final scene with that Indominus Rex. I think that alone makes it a great ride, but all the rest of it is also incredible. So I'm going to take that.
That's I like that pick. I now we have to go into the the rules we make up as we go. If Jurassic Park River Adventure is still up for grabs, and I'm gonna say no.
Oh, I would say yes.
Okay, well then it's yes. Cool. But I'm not. You're not going to trick me into taking it this time, Shane.
No. I also don't want it, so someone else can have it.
All right, fair enough. Nick, you're going to have your Jurassic Park area at your park is going to just absolutely rule. It's going to be fantastic. All right, so I've got to get a show on the books here, unless we're counting the studio tour as a show, which I don't think we are. We can count it as a ride.
Yeah, it's a ride.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with far and away my favorite show at Universal Orlando, the Universal Horror Makeup Show. I think that is a show. It's an original park attraction. It has staying power. The actors who do it, they're fantastic. But horror makeup show like Men in Black is something I have to do at least once, but probably multiple times during a vacation. If for no other reason than I can yell out An American Werewolf in London when everyone's like, E.T.
I just saw that for the first time a couple weeks ago.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was really interesting.
Okay.
Pretty funny, too.
That's a really glowing review. Thanks, Shane.
I thought it was all right.
You're stepping on my hopes and dreams.
No. I thought it was, you know what? I thought it was incredible.
Thank you. Good save.
Okay.
Eric and I liked it so much we saw it twice during our trip.
Did you see it twice?
And it was also because it was raining.
Yeah, well,
Everything else was closed the second time, so it's like, well, I guess we'll watch the show again.
Another great review.
I was gonna say, how much was that second viewing because I bullied the two of you into it?
May have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Bullying works. Bullying works. Um,
That's what you should take away from this podcast.
that's right. Bullying works. How else could I get you guys to do a universal draft on a Sunday night?
There you go.
Bullying works. And I'm going to go with, I got to get a defunct attraction right now. And my first pick of the 8th round, I am taking Nickelodeon Studios. Not necessarily just for the game lab, but you had Legends of the Hidden Temple. You had What Would You Do? You had Double Dare. You had all these shows that were filmed right there in front of a live studio audience in Orlando, Florida. And it was right there at Universal Studios. So Nick Studios is my pick in the 8th round.
All right.
And Shane, your 8th round pick.
Yeah, well, I was looking back at everything everyone's taken, and I can't believe this hasn't been mentioned yet. So I'm going to take my show, which is going to be Waterworld at Universal Studios Hollywood. Other than the Bourne Stuntacular, this is the greatest theme park show I think I've ever seen. This may even be a little bit better. When I lived in California for a few months and I went to Universal, every time I would make sure to see Waterworld. It is just incredible. It's a whole experience, and I love it.
Great pick.
Eric would be proud.
Eric, who probably doesn't listen to the podcast.
No, he won't.
He's, I would say if he listened, he would be like vindication, like raising his arms.
Yeah, he's been waiting the whole time for someone to mention it.
So, Eric, your mark is about 31 minutes in. You're just gonna hear the greatest thing, but you're probably not gonna listen, so it's fine. But Nick, round out the 8th round for us, and then begin the 9th round.
Yeah, so I'm looking at my picks and also what's on the board, and I'm wondering, like, do I necessarily like go for what I think is the best attraction still available, or I think I'm more like just trying to like round out and have like a good collection of rides. Like if I was building a new Universal park, having like a nice collection. So I think I haven't picked a water ride yet, so I think I'm going to go with Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls.
Oh, come on. That was going to be my next
Good
one.
pick.
Which Eric and I rode back in June, and I was wearing a poncho, and the staff was just laughing at me like, that's not going to help. And they were right. We got absolutely soaked.
I rode that one time in January because you're like, Florida, water rides, January, it's fine. I have never been so damp after a ride. It was just like, because it was a little chilly. It was like in the 60s, which for Florida, it's like winter coat weather. And I was like shorts and a t-shirt. I'm fine. Oh my gosh. I've never been so cold. And I was like pounding $5 into that dryer that didn't do anything. And oh man, you get so wet. And then you get those people who, swipe their cards. It used to be quarters, and now they swipe their cards for the blasters, which, you're liable to get like an inner ear infection from the thing hitting you right in the ear.
Yeah.
So I love that pick at the 8th round to close that out for you, Nick. But
some people might say it's a coaster, depending on who you ask.
Oh God, we
I'm not saying I do. I'm saying
Shane, we don't need, with all of the conjecture of the coaster internet in the last several weeks. We don't need this right now.
I would welcome it. I would welcome the comments.
Oh God! All right, Shane's X Twitter account is
no.
If you don't like if you want coaster, what is a coaster hot takes, you can email Shane at
That's fine. I'll take it.
Don't email Shane. Shane at Coaster101.com. That's fine.
Yeah, you can email me. I will. I love this. I love these debates.
Oh God. All right, Nick. We've reached the bottom third, or the final third of this draft. We're 2/3 the way through. So if we're going to give a real quick recap, Nick right now has Velocicoaster, Jurassic World Adventure, and Universal Studios Beijing, the Bourne Stuntacular, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, Mummy at Universal Studios Florida specifically, Confrontation, Hollywood Dream, and Dudley Do Right's Ripsaw Falls, while Shane has Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventures, The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, Jaws the Ride, Dueling Dragons, The Decepticoaster, Back to the Future the Ride, Jurassic World the Ride, and Waterworld the Show. And then I have Flying Dinosaur, Mario Kart, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, Men in Black Alien Attack, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, which is decidedly different than the Decepticoaster, totally different ride, the
Of
Universal
course.
Studios Hollywood Studio Tour, the Universal Horror Makeup Show, and Nickelodeon Studios. And so, Nick, to kick off round number 9, what are you going to go with for us?
So I already have a little mini Jurassic World land in my fictional park here. So I think I'm also going to make a little mini King Kong land and go with Skull Island, Reign of Kong from Islands of
Whoa,
Adventure.
interesting.
That's a good
Okay.
pick. That's okay.
Which may be a little surprising, but that's another one where the more I ride it, the more I actually enjoy that ride. I like how there's different, the animatronic drivers of the trucks are all different, so you get kind of a slightly different story for each time, so it adds that rideability factor.
Are they that different, though?
Not really.
Small.
I haven't
It's
been
small.
on it enough. I don't know.
It's one of those. I feel like every time I ride that, it like starts to rain. So I've never been on the outside portion of the track.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
also
kinda-
closed right now, so the outdoor portion is closed.
Oh, why?
Oh, really?
Do we know?
I'm not sure. Renovation or something? I don't know.
Okay, man, Shane, come on. How are you going to be an Orlando
Yeah.
blogger if you don't have the scoop?
Yeah. Next time I go, I'll try to figure it out.
Okay. So Shane, since you don't have the scoops, you do have the second pick of round 9, though.
No. And speaking of scoops, I already took The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, so it only makes sense that now I'm going to take Transformers: The Ride 3D.
Okay.
I think it again still holds up. Obviously, Spider-Man I think is better because of the physical aspect of it, but you still have that ride vehicle, and I think that the simulation on that is just as good. So I'm going to take Transformers.
Okay. I've never seen a Transformers movie, and so every time
Oh, you're missing out.
I know, but every time I go into this attraction at Universal Studios Florida, I'm so overwhelmed because I have no idea what's going on. And it's like loud noises and Optimus Prime and more loud noises and more Optimus Prime.
I mean that is the movies, so
That's
that's
fair. And then you've got what, Bumblebee? Is that the yellow one? And he's like, I'm gonna play classic rock music, and it's like, okay, cool,
Yep.
works for me. All right, I want to get a ruling from you guys before I pick this.
Okay.
So I want your thoughts, and this is now that it is to my pick in the 9th round, which this probably could have come off far earlier. Are we allowed to take special events at these Universal parks?
I mean, if so, I would have.
I would have picked something else earlier.
much sooner.
Okay, so can we have just a lateral? Just we'll call it right now. We'll institute the rule without me picking it. We cannot pick Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, that would have been my first pick probably. So
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I should have clarified. I didn't, but sorry, guys. I apologize.
Okay.
For not.
So for the polls, just assume all of our parks have Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, and we have a brand new. They have a Dueling Dragons scare zone or whatever it is this year.
A house. Amazing.
It's a house. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they went. I mean, they took their own IP, and it's like Again, there are websites and people who follow Halloween Horror Nights far more than what we do on Coaster 101. So if you need like Halloween Horror Night stuff, I'm not going to plug other people, but Thrill Geek, Clint over at Thrill Geek, he has Halloween Horror Nights locked down more than anybody else in the like theme park space. So go listen to him because he knows pretty much everything, and I think he's there like every night because that's a thing that people
Good,
do.
as you should be.
Yes, I guess. I don't know. I don't live there. I go to Scarowinds, and Scarowinds is kind of like a once a year thing for me.
Oh, there you
All
go.
right,
You'll have to make
so
a visit this year.
I'm gonna maybe. All
Okay.
right. So we are gonna go right now. I'm now that I can't snipe you guys and take Halloween Horror Nights and the late round um, draft of all late round drafts. So I am gonna go. I don't know about the reputation of these two roller coasters that I'm going to take at one time, but I know they do look cool, and so I'm going to go to Universal Studios Singapore and take the dueling Battlestar Galactica coasters. You've got one sit down, you've got one inverted. They kind of again intertwine a little bit, so I think they look cool, and if for no other reason, I think they look cool. So
Yeah, I agree. Vekoma. So uh, the Vekoma's doing some good stuff these days. So I would like to get on that at some point.
yes. All right. And then I have round 10 as well. Oh gosh. We're not quite reaching the bottom of the barrel, but I need to do a little bit of research here for a second. So
Okay.
I'll continue talking, but Shane, on the subject of Universal, I don't know if this will make anybody's list, but the newest attraction, I know you just had a review of the Minions Villain Con that you posted on Coaster 101.
Yes.
And you got to experience it. What can you tell us about that while I do some research on my end for new attractions?
Yeah. So I got to check out Villain Con Minion Blast during the technical rehearsals, which took over the building of Shrek 4D, where that used to be. And then I've also heard half of the building is open and it's going to be used for Halloween Horror Nights. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. But I thought it was pretty good. I think the technology is very interesting. And I think it's very exciting to do an attraction with brand new technology. I thought the theming was a lot of fun, and it filled a space that Universal needed for a kind of family-oriented attraction, but everyone can do it and will keep people moving through. So overall, I enjoyed it. My one criticism was that I had no idea what I was doing or shooting at, or how the points worked, or anything to do with the actual goal of what you're supposed to be doing on the ride. But either way, I had fun indoor queue, some fun scenes too, especially if you're a Universal fan. There's a couple details that I think you're going to really appreciate. And the Minion Land as a whole, I think is great. That Minion Cafe, I would say now is the best, if not one of the best places to eat at Universal. So I say Minion Land and Minion Blast, very big hit for Universal. Going to be a success.
Okay, cool. I'm here for it. Head to coaster101.com, read Shane's review, and check that out. Okay, I now have a. Let's see. I've taken just one defunct ride, so I can still do a defunct attraction here, and I'm going to go with Terminator 2 3D.
Okay.
I think Terminator, it was an attraction that probably might have overstayed its welcome a little bit. That Universal Studios Florida, it was a little dated by the time it closed and made way for the Born Stuntacular. But again, I think it was one of those very in the days where the tagline at Universal Studios Florida was "Ride the Movies," and you got to see those T1000s, and you got to see the actor who vaguely looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger from 100 feet away ride a motorcycle through the screen. I think that was a kind of a before its time type attraction, and it was always great seeing Shaq in his Orlando Magic jersey, circa 1995, have his laser contact and hit that free throw in the pre-show. Always made me laugh.
I
Shane.
don't remember that at all. I did it. I don't remember that.
Oh, Shane, come on.
I know. I know.
Do you even know that Shaq was a basketball player, Shane?
That part I got, but
Okay.
the context with Terminator, no.
Okay. All right, you're picking the 10th round.
Okay, my pick is going to be Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal Studios Orlando. I think pretty underrated ride. Depending on where you sit, it can be a little rough. But if you're in one of the smooth seats, definitely, I think it's up there in the conversation with some of the best Universal coasters. The gimmick of picking your own song is great. The secret songs also really great. I listened to Billy Joel on it the other day. Great decision. So yeah, I just think it's a lot of fun. The non-inverting loop, very cool element, and lots of airtime too if you sit in the back. So that's going to be my pick.
Okay, I like that. That's a solid pick. I mean, I know Hollywood Rip Ride and Rocket, depending on which coaster enthusiast you ask, they either love it or they hate it. So I feel like a 10th round pick is it's a fair pick right now for Rip Ride Rocket, even though, like, I don't know, do they still do the thing where they shoot the on ride video with
Yes, they do.
film it
Yep.
on like a TI-83 calculator, and
Yeah, you can still buy your video.
Oh my gosh! Oh boy!
I think it's digital. It used to be a DVD. I think it's a link
Okay.
now.
It's not like you go over to Disney and did Cyberspace Mountain at Disney Quest, which you could still buy on like Laserdisc or VHS in the year 2015 when it closed.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nick, round 10, your pick, and then you've got the first pick of round 11 as well.
Alrighty. I think I'm going to continue the course I was on before and kind of make a well-rounded attraction list here. So I think I need more family-friendly rides. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Secret Life of Pets Dark Ride.
Oh, that was my next one.
From Universal Studios Hollywood, which I have not
pick.
been on, but it looks like a very good ride for families, an omnimover type attraction.
I like it. Solid pick. I also have not been out there. I think Eric and John have both been out there. They had a lot of good things to say about it. So,
yeah, they loved it.
All right. And then Nick, first pick of round 11.
This time I think I'll go back to the defunct attractions and take the Ghostbusters Spooktacular.
Ooh.
Which
that is also on my list.
Because I'm pretty sure I did it. I don't really remember it at all, but I know I was a big Ghostbusters fan as a kid, so now that's definitely a nostalgia play there.
That was one I never did, and that was even growing up in Florida. I never rode that. So I'm assuming it's good. I know it's where Twister. It was there before Twister, and then Twister was there before Jimmy Fallon. So we're talking double defunct at this point.
Right.
All right, Shane, your pick in round 11.
All right. Well, I can take 3 defunct attractions.
Yes.
And Jaws is technically still open overseas, so that I'm not going to count that as defunct. So my third, it's just a little bit of a technicality, but hey, it works. All right,
it works.
I know we can't pick Horror Nights, but this is a Horror Nights adjacent attraction, which is the Walking Dead walkthrough attraction that was at Universal Studios Hollywood up until pretty recently, which is essentially a year-long Halloween Horror Nights house. I did it when I was there. I'd never been to Horror Nights at that point, so that was my first taste of what Universal can do in terms of haunted houses, and I loved it then. So I'm going to put that in my draft park.
Okay, that's you're stretching the limits of the draft here, but that's what happens when you have a guy who again creates the rules on the fly and doesn't really enforce things. So you're good there.
All right. So okay.
I have my last 2 picks. All right. So we are gonna go. I like Nick's idea that you have to create some sort of or have some sort of family attraction. I guess I kind of did that with Mario Kart, but I need one I feel like is a true family attraction. And believe it or not, it's the same ride system as Men in Black Alien Attack. I'm going to go with Cat in the Hat at Universal Islands of Adventure.
Wow.
I
think Mario Kart is also the same, at least
might be.
Interior ride vehicle.
I don't know. But I know Cat in the Hat was, to me, it's one of those I always have to ride it at least once because there's the scene in there where Thing 1 and Thing 2, they come out of the box and they just have like this very robotic running, and it makes me laugh every time. And I know they neutered the spinning a little bit over the years, but I think Cat in the Hat is a very, very fun dark ride. So I got to go Cat in the Hat in 11. And to round this out, let's see. Let's make sure I've got everything here. I've got a show. I've got my at least two. Well, yeah, I've got 2 international attractions. Defunct. Okay, so we're good. I can pretty much go anywhere here, but I'm gonna take this is getting oddly specific here because I don't want the whole ride. I want
Okay.
the pre-show for Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I
just want
to take Fast and Furious.
Oh, if you want the whole ride, you can have it.
No. You go.
Okay, I want. I'm gonna write in the draft notes here: Fast and Furious, all caps, pre-show only.
If you're taking the pre-show, you gotta take everything.
I don't have to do anything. It's my draft.
Well, that's exactly what Eric and I did when we were there, because we did all the pre-shows and then the ride was down, so we just left.
I think the pre-show, the actors in the pre-show, I think deep down they realize that, for a lot of people, they're going to be the best part of this ride. And
yes.
I remember I went in there, the one guy was like, he had Ludacris on the screen, and he was like, oh, and he was just like, oh, yep, okay, cool, thanks, cool. And it was just like the most deadpan, nonchalant, like, Ludacris is yelling at you. And then we left that room, and he goes, did you guys see how he was talking to me? It's really kind of ludicrous to think about. And it's like,
oh boy.
It was so good. I love puns. So I got to go Fast and the Furious with the caveat that it is pre-show only.
Okay.
So that's how I'm going to conclude. And I've got to wrap my my draft here. I've got Flying Dinosaur, Mario Kart, Forbidden Journey, Men in Black Alien Attack, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, the Universal Studios Hollywood Studio Tour, the Horror Makeup Show, Nickelodeon Studios, the Battlestar Galactica Coasters, Terminator 2 3D, Cat in the Hat, Fast and the Furious pre-show. And Shane, you have one more pick. What is that pick going to be?
Oh, okay. This is a tough one because we have not mentioned a big ride at Universal Studios, which is E.T. So right now I'm debating between E.T. and Jimmy Fallon.
Take E.T.
Because
just take E.T.
I love the Jimmy Fallon ride. It makes me miss living in New York City a lot. I am actually a pretty big Jimmy Fallon fan as well. However, I'm a bigger Steven Spielberg fan, so I am going to take E.T. I also don't think I have a family ride in my park. So I will take the E.T. adventure.
Smart man. Smart man. When the best part of the ride is the safety spiel that's wrapped by the roots, it's not a good ride.
I think it's a fun ride. That's for another podcast. We can do a debate.
Oh God. I cannot wait for the episode entitled Shane's Hot Takes, where I just yell at you about Navi River Journey and Jimmy
I was going to say that. I think that needs to be our next episode. We have to do that. We've been talking about the Navi episode for like 2 years at this point.
This is true. All right.
So we got to get Arthur Levine on here.
Okay, we'll get Arthur Levine on. I'm still I'll fight,
and he'll be on my team. Yeah,
fine. If we got to get the Godfather involved, we got to get the Godfather involved.
I think we do.
Okay, fine. Jimmy Fallon. No, sorry, you took E.T., not Jimmy Fallon.
I did take E.T.
You got me all fired up now.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. So before we get Nick's final pick and close this draft out, Shane's lineup is Hagrid, the amazing. Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventures roller coaster presented by Harry Potter or whatever. Amazing Adventures Spider-Man, Jaws the ride, Dueling Dragons, the Decepticoaster, Back to the Future the ride, Jurassic World the ride, Waterworld the show, Transformers the ride 3D, Rip Ride Rocket, Walking Dead walkthrough at Universal Studios Hollywood, and E.T. Adventure. Nick, which Universal attraction is going to be Mr. Irrelevant in the 2023 Coaster101 Universal Draft?
Well, I was going to pick ET until that one went off the board there. Thanks for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I allowed to pick an attraction that is under construction but not yet open? And I'm not talking about Epic Universe.
Has it been open at any point?
No, I'm thinking of the Donkey Kong coaster at Universal Studios Japan.
No way.
No, not allowed.
No. I said past and present. I mean, again, if we could have taken future, that green and yellow multi-launch monstrosity they're building at Epic Universe, that would have come off probably pick 2 or 3 for me.
Yep.
Okay. Instead, and then I guess I will go back to the dinosaur well here and pick an interactive a character kind of attraction and go with the raptor encounter from Islands of Adventure.
Good pick.
I thought you were going to say Triceratops encounter. I was going to be really confused.
I thought you were going to say the Jurassic River Adventure.
We tried to throw it to
half the dinosaurs were broken.
They still are.
Oh gosh! All right. So Nick's Dinosaur Heavy Park has Velocicoaster, Jurassic World Beijing, Jurassic World Adventure in the Beijing. He also has the Raptor encounter, so he's got a nice little Jurassic Park, Jurassic World area there. He also has Born Stuntacular, Gringotts,
a random Harry Potter ride.
Harry Potter ride, which aren't they all just kind of random Harry Potter rides when we really get down to it? Mummy,
I guess so.
Confrontation, Hollywood Dream, Dudley Do Rights, Ripsaw Falls, another Kong attraction. So he has 2 Kong attractions here. He has Secret Life of Pets. He has a 30-plus-year-old Ghostbusters show. And the Raptor encounter, which I already mentioned. So those are our 12-round picks. There's still some talent left on the board here. Something that,
let's go through some near misses that we almost drafted, because I have a couple.
Yeah, I think for me, if we kept going, Poseidon's Fury would have come off the board pretty quickly. I think it's a nice walkthrough attraction that I think kind of the Minions attraction replaces that a little bit now, even though it's a different park. But the effects on that were really cool. As a kid, I always remembered going to the Wild Wild West stunt show at Universal Studios Florida, but also before the Cinesphere, before the Universal Movie Show, there used to be like a boat stunt show on that lagoon, which to me as a child, 7, 8 years old, was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I remember one time standing right by the Richter's Burgers watching the lagoon, and we're standing right over a water cannon, and you can see the water cannon in the water, and we're like, oh, what's that? And then a errant fake bullet hit it, and guess what? Guess who got soaked by the water cannon? My entire family.
Guess you.
Yeah, my entire family. So,
wow.
I think Wild Wild West stunt show. I think Poseidon's Fury. I think the boat show, and I will always have a special spot in my heart for not Earthquake, but Disaster, a major motion picture starring you.
One. Yeah, I did ride that.
Christopher Walken was fantastic, and I think Universal at one point was trying to just, jam The Rock anywhere they could in their parks. So I think Earthquake was really good, and it had a little bit of that fusion technology that we see in Harry Potter. So I think those were, if we kept going, I would have eventually gotten to all those. Notice, Shane, I did not mention Jimmy Fallon at all.
Yeah, I did notice.
What about you, Shane? What are some rides / shows / attractions / other things that could have made your Universal list here?
Well, my next one would have been Jimmy Fallon. I think I also Dr. Doom. I think is pretty good. It's very short, but I think the queue is a lot of fun, and I think it's a good fit for Superhero Island. I think this is a very specific, but the Lagoon show from last year's Halloween Horror Nights that ran for a couple weeks before it got taken up by the hurricane is one of the coolest theme park shows I've ever seen. So that probably wouldn't have made an appearance as well. And yeah, those would have been the next up. Popeyes I've never been on, but I've heard it's pretty good. I just don't want to get that soaking wet at the parks. But
fair.
yeah, those would have been my next up.
All right, Nick. What about you?
Basically all the attractions at the international parks that I'm not too familiar with, but there's the Space Fantasy the Ride is an indoor spinning coaster at Universal Studios Japan. There's a mock ride suspended coaster at Beijing. I think there's one of the parks has like a indoor Sesame Street dark ride that looks pretty cool. Singapore has a Jurassic Park River Rapids ride that looks good. So probably one of those would have been my next pick.
I realized nobody took the Hogwarts Express, which
I was thinking about
completely
that.
forgot about.
And Nick, you wrote the article about how the Hogwarts Express works. Like I was thinking that
completely slipped my mind.
I thought that was coming off quick, but that's another one. I think it didn't revolutionize park to park transportation, but it's certainly more effective than a stinky bus or a monorail that then you have to take a stinky bus too. So sorry.
Right.
Was that my outside voice? I apologize.
That's all right.
All right. Well, gentlemen, before we wrap this up, any other
should we
thoughts?
go over? People have to vote.
Yes.
So should we each go through our list here? Give what we chose so people can vote for their favorite park. Okay.
Yeah. So after you listen to this, or while you're listening, just not while you're driving because that's not safe, go to our Twitter account. We're going to have a pinned tweet up there for about a week. So by whatever Sunday's date is, the 6th, I think, I don't know. Dates are.
That sounds right.
About the 6th, something like that. We're gonna have a poll up there, and we're gonna have an image and say who had the best draft. We're gonna have that image, but we are gonna have our drafters go through and state their case as to why you should pick them and or not pick their opponents. So Shane, because this was your idea to talk about it, I'm gonna let you go first to defend your choices here.
Well, sure. Okay, so let's go through my whole list, and then I'll make my case. So,
yeah,
at my park, I have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, the Jaws ride, Dueling Dragons, Decepticoaster, Back to the Future the ride, Jurassic World the ride at Universal Studios Hollywood, Waterworld, Transformers the ride 3D, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, the Walking Dead walkthrough haunted house attraction, and the E.T. Adventure. So the reason you should vote for my park is not only because I have probably the best ride that Universal or maybe anyone has ever created with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventures, but also one of the greatest dark rides of all time with The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, and then some great other attractions there like Jaws. Everyone still wishes they could ride Jaws. Well, my park, you can. Dueling Dragons, who doesn't love a B&M invert? How about two that go over one another and interact? This is the first version where they would actually duel each other. So you're also getting a dueling coaster here. Also, Back to the Future, the ride. A classic, again, one that people say they wish was still around. Jurassic World, the ride, has some of the best animatronics. Waterworld, most people's favorite stunt show. Transformers the Ride 3D, which takes the Spider-Man ride vehicle and ups the intensity just a little bit. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, you can choose your song while you experience a pretty cool coaster. With The Walking Dead, you can go through a Halloween Horror Nights house all year long. And then you can end with a classic family ride, E.T. We can go visit the Green Planet and look at E.T.'s friends on your flying bicycle. So that is why you should vote for my park.
And have him read the wrong name at the end of the ride. Nick.
Well, yeah.
Nick. So, other than I have Velocicoaster, vote for me. Let's hear your sales pitch, your elevator pitch as to why people should vote for you.
If we want to go through the list of attractions real quick, we got Velocicoaster, Jurassic World Adventure from Beijing, Born Stuntacular, Gringotts, Mummy, Confrontation, Hollywood Dream from Universal Studios Japan, Dudley Do-Right Ripsaw Falls, Skull Island, Reign of Kong, Secret Life of Pets, Ghostbusters, Spooktacular, and the Raptor Encounter. So if you like dinosaurs, this park is for you with 3 attractions.
And who doesn't?
Exactly. If you like roller coasters, we've got 4 roller coasters here with all different varied experiences. And besides thrilling attractions, we also have a good mix of family rides here that we can all do together with your family. And oh yeah, we have Velocicoaster.
Okay, you have Velocicoaster.
We get it. We get it.
We get it. All right. So, my park of Flying Dinosaur, Mario Kart, Bowser's Castle, or
Challenge, I think.
Bowser's Challenge, Koopa's Challenge. It's the Mario Kart ride. It's awesome. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. It's awesome. Men in Black Alien Attack. Incredible Hulk Coaster. The Universal Studios Hollywood Studio Tour. The Horror Makeup Show. Nickelodeon Studios. Those 2 crazy looking Battlestar Galactica coasters in Universal Studios, Japan, Singapore. It's one of the parks overseas that I've already forgotten. I'm sorry.
I think
Please
it's
don't-
Singapore.
Okay, Singapore. Battlestar Galactica. Terminator 2 3D. Cat in the Hat. And the Fast and Furious pre-show only. Here's what I need to say. Okay? If you go to Nick's Park, you get to ride 2 different King Kong rides. Ooh, King Kong. Wow. If you go to Shane's Park, you go to Spider-Man and you go to
Hagrid's.
Nope. Spider-Man
Oh.
and Transformers. Literally the same ride in a different shell. That's the way it goes. If you come to my park, you're getting variety. Not only do you have one of the best flying roller coasters in the world, you have the first ever Kuka robot arm attraction. You have Men in Black Alien Attack, one of the greatest interactive dark rides of all time with practical sets. Everyone is like Universal, screens. You know what Men in Black doesn't have? Except for one screen that's kind of blurry at this point because of all the years. Screens. It is practical set pieces, and it's a giant building with practical set pieces, and you can rewrite it any infinite amount of times and have a different experience each time. You get the Horror Makeup Show, which is again, one of the most funny theme park shows that has been kicking for 30 plus years at this point and is still not stale at all. You get Nickelodeon Studios because who doesn't love Legends of the Hidden Temple, Double Dare, Slime, the Game Lab, the GAC Kitchen, any of these cool things. You got to see television being made live at the park, which is right at the messaging and the brand of Universal Studios Florida. You got Terminator 2 because, again, you get to see an actor who looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger from 100 feet away, kind of ride a motorcycle through a screen. And to wrap this up, you have Fast and the Furious, but the good news is I'm not making you ride the ride. You get the best part. You get the pre-show. You get the dumb jokes. You get the laughs. You don't have to get on the party bus because Fast and the Furious screams party bus. No, it doesn't. It screams fast jokes and furious humor, and that's what you get in the pre-show.
Wow.
So that's why you got to vote for me. But that's what I got. And like I said, head to our Twitter account because we're not calling it anything else at this point. And vote. You got all week to do it. And again, there's other news that's going to happen this week in the theme park industry. But before that happens, we wanted to have a little fun with this Universal Draft. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Coaster 101 podcast. Head to coaster101.com again for that breaking news that comes out probably tomorrow if you're listening to this on Monday, or will have already come out by the time you listen to this if it's not Monday. We're also on all forms of social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the artist formerly known as Twitter, whatever it is. We're at Coaster101 anywhere you can consume those platforms. If you want the latest and greatest of roller coaster themed or parody or themed Coaster 101 merchandise, head to c101.co/tpublic. We've got a really great TeePublic shop. I think the sale is over. But some really good shirts, really cool designs, things like that. If you're listening, make sure you're liking, rating, reviewing, subscribing, telling your friends to listen. And, we're, again, my summer work schedule is slowly slowing down, and eventually we're going to be back to a week-to-week show, and that's going to be great. But the best way to get people to listen is to tell more people and to review us on iTunes and Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Man, I'm old. I'm just saying, review us on iTunes, because that's a thing people do. But yeah, Nick, Shane, appreciate you guys hopping on again in a very busy week for theme park news to just have a little fun.
Yeah, this was awesome. I'm very excited to see how the voting goes.
So again, reminder, Shane has both Spider-Man and Transformers. They are the same ride. He also
the same good ride. And I also have Hagrid's. I mean, that's the end of the argument right there. Thanks for listening.
And he has Jaws, and he stole it from me. And
I
Nick,
did.
If you like dinosaurs and King Kong, go to Nick's Park. But, you don't really like them that much, so vote for me.
If you like well-rounded parks with some of the best attractions of all time, you should visit mine.
Anyway.
Velocicoaster.
Velocicoaster for Nick. Nick says Velocicoaster.
Hagrid's for me.
Thanks, as always, to JMMD Entertainment, formerly JM Music Design, for our theme music. And we will talk to y'all again soon. See ya.